I started in careers in 1979 and had the luxury of being appointed full-time, and I'd never heard of careers, and I said, "What's that?" I think I was in that role because I'd done counselling and I'd worked as a probation officer in the children's court. So I'd done a little bit of counselling, and I think that was sufficient to say, "Oh, well, you can do careers." I'm not really good on the detail, but I do recall that in that first year, 79, on a Friday afternoon, and I almost think it might have been weekly, perhaps over a term, we would go into the education department in Queensbury Street in North Melbourne in the afternoon, and I think it was Margaret Bride, maybe Ruth Chapman, and we did an induction into careers. So it was very, for us at the time, and it was a mix. I can't remember how many new careers people there would have been in the group, maybe 10 or 12. Um, and given we were all starting from a base of zero, it was just so reassuring to think, well, I'm not on my own. There are these other people who've got no idea what they should or shouldn't be doing. And through that link, it obviously exposed us then to, and I'm trying to think who they were. They were probably VISE, the Victorian Institute of Secondary Education, now VCAR or whoever. So it gave you that link into how they operated and their support when students were doing preferences for further study. So the things I remember most, I guess, apart from the knowledge, was the networking, the strength of the networking amongst both we newbies, but then getting into, there was a careers network in, I think it ran out of, because I was at Broadmeadows, and it had people from, they weren't called TAFE then, Institute, the equivalent of TAFE schools, TAFE institutes. They'd come to the meetings. So that's a very early memory. And then at the forefront of other memories were the incredible conferences, like the conferences at Dookie, I think, Deakin, Warrnambool, Deakin, Geelong, just Ballarat, Bendigo, and they were amazing, both as a professional learning experience, but also just as a social, because the careers network was just such a social experience. And I was saying earlier on, I was also in a school at one stage teaching economics and history. We had an association, but you never got together with the other history teachers in your region. You would have at a conference, but they weren't your colleagues the way you felt the careers teacher down the road was.